Hi there, Chris here. So I have this ERA that Roy Salmon sent me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And it came without a key, and I thought, oh, this is a good opportunity to make a key. So I've made a key, and I'll kind of go through it step by step. And this one I hand filed because I like to do that every once in a while. It's not real pretty, but it works. Yeah, I like to do it every once in a while just to keep my skills up. So the first thing I do is I get a big bag for the lock, the cylinder and the plug and the little clip, all that stuff. And then I take these bags, and if it's a 6-pin lock, I number them 1 through 6. So, and then I put the original key pin, the spring, and whatever driver's in there. So that way I can separate them out and work at them one at a time and keep the drivers in the same place when I put the lock back together. So then what I do is I give Slinky an extra portion of food so that she'll go off and take a nap while I can work on this. So we've done that, and she's taken a nap. And start to finish, the process took me about 45 or 50 minutes. I go slow at it when I'm filing and checking, and we'll go through that. So we'll take it apart, always using a shim. And we'll have a look at it. And this is just a key blank I had. This is a Curtis, and it is a Y1, they call it a Y15, but it's the correct keyway profile to go in here. It just wasn't a 6-pin blank. It's only a 5-pin blank. So I ended up pinning one of the pins, the 6-pin on the drop here, or the nose. And because of that, because it's dropped so far, I ended up having to use a lab pin because the original pin was not, and this is usually the case, is far too short. But I did use a lab pin. Now, there's ways to handle that. I could have filed back the shoulder about there, one point, one space, and that would end up giving me my 6-pin about there. So, but I didn't bother. I thought, well, I'll pin it on the drop and use whatever pin I can get to fit in there. And I also had to, the closest pin I had to file this just slightly. So the first thing I do is I come in here and I just hold the blank over here. And I take a marker, one of those, permanent markers, and I just stripe the key everywhere there's a hole. I put a strike on the key. And so you have your key with little line, little line, little line, little line, little line. And then I transfer the lines to the top. Then I put it back in and look down there with a flashlight and say, okay, I'm pretty close to each center. So once I've got all my lines, then I put this, we'll stick this here so it doesn't get away. I then go and I get some files. Now, I did this with cheap files around a flat in a triangular file, and these are like 15 bucks on Amazon. I do have expensive files, but it's, I like to do it, if I'm going to do something for a video, I like to use files that anybody can get a hold of, and it's not going to break anybody's bank. So I do use these cheapies. And basically, I start off, and I'll, because you see this is kind of going down. I put something under it so it gets it relatively flat. And so if I see a line, I go boom, 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 and I left that one for last. And this one, I actually got a little bit too deep. It was the first one I did, and my mojo wasn't coming up to speed yet. So I got it a little bit too deep. If you'll look, you could see. It's just a little deeper. Hey, where's my pin? Where's 6? I'll put 6 back in there. It's just a little deeper, these two, but actually there's play in this key, and so you can actually get a pretty good fit. And so I file down, and I just do one pin at a time. So I'll file down and get that pin working. And when you file down, what you're going to have on here, you see how it goes in and out nicely? But you want to make sure you relieve this edge on the trailing and leading, or leading and trailing, I guess, so that it's a nice angle. So if it's too abrupt, it'll trap the pins either going in or going out, and you can't get your key going in and out. So as I file down to get the right height for my key pins, I work on these ramps. And so I get the first one working right, and what I do is I stick my thumb on there to simulate, this driver spring pressure to make sure that it's not going to trap. And I'll go and I'll do, say, maybe 3 at a time. So I'll put in the key pins, I'll put in the first 3 drivers, and I'll try the key with it all together to make sure it's all going to work. And the reason I don't do them all 6 at a time is if I've not got the key correctly and the key does not work, then it's going to take me a while to pick 6 before I can get it apart and get back to my work. So I just do 2 or 3 at a time. And also I'm always checking when I file another slot for a key pin that it will go in and out. So I kind of take care of the depth and the ramps at the same time. So overall, this took me about 45 or 50 minutes to set it up, but it's fun. It just takes a little patience. This key happens to be a steel key. Is it brass underneath? Let's take a look. I don't know if I can tell. Yeah, it's brass underneath. So once you get through the nickel silver, I guess, whatever it is, it's brass underneath there, and the brass will cut quickly. And when you're filing, where's the file? When you're filing, you only want to file a couple at a time. So that's what really takes your time. And if you see I'm filing this way, the back edge of this file is wider than the front because of the taper. So I want to go like that, but then I want to make sure that the opening here is the same as the opening here. So I might want to go this way with it a couple. And if I go 2 this way, go 2 this way. Usually I don't. Because these are cheap files, I just scrub back and get it all even. So basically that's how I do it. We'll put it back together. It is very fun to do this. And you probably, if you're just starting out, you probably want to get yourself 2-3 blanks, because you might make a mistake. And if you make a mistake, you go to a pinning kit and you get the next highest key. Now, I have the slightest bit of hitch here which is probably 6 is possibly a little high, and 1 is possibly a little bit low. But if I kick this key back, actually 6 is probably low, because if I kick this key back like that, because of the play up and down in this blank, I get no hitch. So that's good enough. I mean, that's good enough for me. Anyway, thank you, Roy, for sending me this to so I can get this guy. It was a difficult pick. I think I actually took the little clip off and shimmed the first 2, 6 and 5, and then picked the rest of them to get it open. So in another video, and I haven't tried to pick this yet, in another video I'll try and single pin pick it and see how it runs. Anyway, thanks for watching. Very fun to hand file a key. Like I say, mine are not real pretty, but if you take a little bit of care and are careful as you go to make your ramps not trapping the pins and not go too deep, you can make a working key, and it, like I say, it doesn't take all that long. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope this was helpful to someone. It was certainly fun for me. And we will, ask a question, leave a comment, hit the like if you like to, if you liked it, and certainly ask a question, and I'll do my best to answer it. All right, we will see you next time, and thank you, Roy. Fun stuff.